nation of St. Lucia into your hands. Lord, we ask that you heal our fair Helen from crime and violence and restore the hearts of our people back to you. Please comfort and heal all victims of crime. Once again, we invite your presence here with us today and ask that you be with those on the way and grant them traveling mercies. Thank you for hearing and answering our prayers. In your Son's precious name we pray. Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you, Ms. Calix. Good morning.
Zawan.
Belty, bonjour.
Bonjour tout le monde.
Good morning, everyone. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Cyan. Honorable Philip J. Pierre, Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Economic Development and Youth Economy.
Honorable Alvina Reynolds, President of the Senate.
Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilher, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Information.
Honorable Stevenson King, Senior Minister and Minister for Infrastructure, Ports, Transport, Physical Development and Urban Renewal.
Cabinet of Ministers.
Honorable Alan M. Chasney, Leader of the Opposition.
Honorable Dr. Kenny D. Anthony, former Prime Minister of St. Lucia and Parliamentary Representative for Beaufort South.
Senator Dale A. Lee, Deputy President of the Senate.
Honorable Jeremiah Norbert, elected member and Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly.
Members of the Senate.
Members of the House of Assembly.
His Excellency Peter Chen, Ambassador of the Republic of China, Taiwan in St. Lucia.
Members of the Diplomatic Corps.
Honorable Leslie Mondesi, Attorney General of St. Lucia.
Permanent and Deputy Permanent Secretaries.
Ms. Lida Harding, Acting Head, Private Sector Division, Caribbean Development Bank.
Mr. Timo Boucher, MSME Consultant, Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, DSIC.
Ms. Vela Samuel Frederick, Project Assistant, Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, DSIC.
Officials of the Ministry of Commerce.
Officials of the St. Lucia Development Bank.
Members of the Evaluation Committee.
Consultants, Training and Technical Officers.
Presidents of the various associations.
Specially invited guests.
Entrepreneurs.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Members of the media. Welcome once again to everyone. We now call on our Permanent Secretary, PS, Mrs. Sophia Alfie Henry, to give us the welcome remarks. Welcome, Mrs. Alfie Henry.
I wish to adopt the protocol already established, and please permit me to be exuberant as I welcome you to the launch of the long-awaited, much-anticipated MSME loan grant facility. The Ministry of Commerce, Manufacturing, Business Development, Cooperatives and Consumer Affairs, in collaboration with the Caribbean Development Bank and the St. Lucia Development Bank, has toiled arduously to make this loan grant facility a reality. Almost 2 years have elapsed from the conceptualization of this initiative, and today we can finally breathe a sigh of success and proudly welcome the launch of this facility. I liken this waiting period to an expectant mother who bears the pain of childbirth. But what happens after delivery? Well, I'm not asking the men. This pain disappears from her memory. While I can speak without end on the many activities which have led to the birth of this facility, my intention is not to belabor you with intricacies of the loan grant, but to deliver salutations to those in attendance today. In light of the above, it is indeed my pleasure to welcome our Prime Minister and Minister with Responsibility for Finance, Honorable Philip J. Pierre. As leader of our nation, we appreciate your allegiance to success and business revitalization. Today's launch would not be memorable without your esteemed presence, Honorable Prime Minister. I would like to certainly welcome the other honorable members of Parliament and Cabinet for acknowledging the true significance of today's launch. As the ones responsible for endorsing policies and laws, without your support, we would not be here today. A special salutation goes out to Honorable Emma Hippolyte, Minister with Responsibility for Commerce and Business Development, for your unwavering determination to create a milestone in the business community. For many entrepreneurs, Minister, for many entrepreneurs, this will assuredly be an unprecedented event and a beacon of hope for the future. Other invited dignitaries, representatives of our financial houses, business support organizations, my colleague permanent secretaries, other government officials and employees of government ministries, departments, and statutory agencies, intended beneficiaries, members of the media, everyone present in this room, and our guests joining us virtually, welcome and thank you for sharing this special moment with my team. Today is born the bundle of joy which will enable approximately 500 MSMEs, the backbone of our economy, to access much-needed finance to start or grow their business and to benefit from targeted technical support to make their business more sustainable. Today is a day of hope for the MSMEs that are sinking and in dire need of a helping hand. Yes, the birth of a child is always a joyous moment, celebrated by many well-wishers, but its success and positive contribution is dependent on that village, that community, to raise it to make a meaningful contribution to society. Similarly, for this EC $10 million facility to be a success, for it to impact the business sector and by extension our economy, is largely dependent on the support of every well-wisher present here today. We must work collectively to enable the loan grant recipients to be sustainable members of the business community. Continued collaboration is essential for the success of this initiative. In closing, I wish to thank you for gracing us with your presence and look forward to us staying true to the theme for this year's Independence Anniversary, Devant a Somme, as we implement the MSME Loan Grant Facility. With this, I bid you a good morning and thank you.
Thank you, PS, for such wonderful and much exciting, like you say, devant awesome remarks. We are indeed looking forward to go forward together. Yes? Another round of applause for PS Henry. Thank you. I would like to now invite Ms. Harding, Acting Head of the Private Sector Division of the Caribbean Development Bank, to offer some remarks. Welcome, Ms. Harding.
The Honorable Philip John Pierre, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Economic Development and the Youth Economy. Honorable Emma Hippolyte, Minister for Commerce, Manufacturing, Business Development, Cooperatives and Consumer Affairs. Mrs. Sophia Alfie Henry, Permanent Secretary. Mrs. Barbara Innocent Charles, Director of the Small Business Development Unit. Mr. Cornelius Sidoni, Managing Director of the St. Lucia Development Bank. Other ministry officials, partners, members of the media, MSME owners and entrepreneurs, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I bring remarks on behalf of the President and staff of the Caribbean Development Bank. I must first commend the Ministry of Commerce, the Small Business Development Center, and the St. Lucia Development Bank for partnering on this very transformational initiative. I would also like to recognize the contributions of the CDB team, led by Mr. Alexander Augustine here today, and Mrs. Audra Walker, for their invaluable contribution to this very important project. Ladies and gentlemen, a thriving private sector is fundamental to the attainment of sustained economic growth and development, and to effectively combat poverty. Micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, which comprise the lion's share of the sector, also play a significant role in improving the lives of our most vulnerable. While acknowledging their significance, we are also aware of the fragility of many of our micro and small businesses and the need to strengthen their resilience. This was made clear with the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the persisting economic fallouts. In this regard, in 2020, CDB, in partnership with the Caribbean Export Development Agency, conducted research which targeted both MSMEs and business support organizations, and which pointed to a number of very interesting findings, which I will share. One of the findings was that approximately 77% of the 520 MSMEs that were surveyed were indicated that they were negatively impacted by the pandemic. The main operational area was cash flow, which is again not surprising. Over 40% of the firms either closed their physical locations, halted production, or suspended operations. Further, 88% of the MSMEs surveyed indicated they had no contingency plans in place. And over 75% of the firms expressed the need for grant funding, with the majority of them requesting capacity building or technical support. These results mirrored the more recent findings conducted by the Ministry of Commerce in St. Lucia and the Organization of American States just in 2021, which also found that almost half, that is 50% of the assessed businesses in St. Lucia had temporarily reduced staff. Ladies and gentlemen, we also know that access to affordable finance, both for working capital and investment, has been a binding constraint for micro, small, and medium-sized businesses. This has been due in part to an underdeveloped financial services industry, which has been dominated by commercial banks, which regard lending to MSMEs as high risk. The inability of businesses to satisfy collateral requirements and limited usage and uptake to de-risking facilities such as credit guarantee schemes also exacerbates the situation. And in some cases, weak operational and financial management capacity of the MSMEs themselves also serves as an impediment. Following the pandemic, it is therefore not surprising that access to finance by MSMEs was further constrained, as evidenced by the tightening of credit conditions and declines in investment, primarily as a result of uncertainty about the length of the outbreak and the depth of its impact. CDB has responded to these changing circumstances by further committing to support the enhancement of existing financial instruments and to support the introduction of new financial products and services which cater to current and unique needs of MSMEs. In this regard, CDB is delighted to be a partner in the MSME Loan Grant Facility being launched this morning. The facility will offer financial relief to existing businesses and aspiring entrepreneurs, while also providing much-needed technical support, training, and mentorship, a combination which we have found proved to be proven to be an effective approach to sustainable business development. This project also complements CDB's broader private sector development agenda, which includes strengthening the legal and regulatory environment and institutional strengthening to enable more effective enterprise development. A few of our recent interventions have focused on improving the ease of starting a business in the Caribbean and developing new financial instruments, such as a crowdfunding framework in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, among others. Nationally, through our CTCS program, our flagship MSME program at the bank, there's also ongoing capacity building of MSMEs, which focus on access to markets, digital transformation, and most importantly, climate resilience. New interventions have also been designed to target firms in the blue and orange economies and those youth and women-led businesses. Two recent projects approved in St. Lucia support mushroom production for at-risk youth, male youth, as well as a recent project focused on labeling and packaging for MSMEs. We are also aware that St. Lucia is bursting with creativity, and as such, our Creative and Cultural Industries Innovation Fund has also supported a number of interventions on island. These have included a tripartite marketing program, which was developed to collectively market the festivals of Grenada, St. Lucia, and Dominica. And we also worked alongside the St. Lucia Coalition of Service Industries and the St. Lucia Social Development Fund to support the implementation of accelerators in both the music and fashion subsectors of the creative industries. The importance of MSMEs is undeniable, and as such, we cannot continue to ignore or defer addressing other significant systemic challenges that impact their survival and competitiveness. CDB, as a long-standing partner of the Governor of St. Lucia, will continue to support these other aspects of development. In closing, again, I commend the Governor of St. Lucia for spearheading this intervention. It is anticipated that through this facility, the MSME sector in St. Lucia will be more resilient and better positioned for growth and sustainability, and in so doing, provide an even greater contribution to St. Lucia's overall economic development. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harding, for such insightful and most encouraging remarks. I now invite Mr. Cornelius Sidoni, Managing Director of the St. Lucia Development Bank, to offer us some remarks. Welcome, Mr. Sidoni.
With protocols having been established, I want to say good morning to everybody. I must admit that it is my distinct pleasure to announce St. Lucia Development Bank as a disbursement agency for this transformative and innovative project. As a disbursement agency, our role is very simple. You give us the list of persons who have qualified, and we get those monies to them. We will do that with the highest level of professionalism and efficiency. This is our role. Considering the importance of this program, we have actually designated an experienced banker to be the disbursement administrator for that project. Micro, small, and medium enterprises has long been the bread and butter of thousands of St. Lucians. It has been the adhesive that holds together households, families, and dreams. This project sets out with key objectives, one of which includes increasing the productive output and revenue generated by businesses who will now have access to additional funding. Pre-ventures, startup enterprises, as well as well-established enterprises will all now have the opportunity to expand their horizons with this innovative project. St. Lucia Development Bank has long afforded persons of limited circumstances to seek financing for loans, grants, and other support. As our nation has grown to a resilient 44 years, we're also reminded of the integral role that SLDB plays in the development of this country. We are confident that this innovative, collaborative project will benefit hundreds of MSMEs in St. Lucia and probably thousands of households. We want to assure St. Lucians that SLDB is totally prepared to undertake this disbursement function, which will be handled with the highest level of efficiency and professionalism. Let me say special thanks to the people who collaborated in this effort and the drive and enthusiasm of the minister in ensuring that everything is in order to have this project going on as effectively as possible. And I just want to give that assurance that SLDB is ready for all of that. I want to also say thank you to the CDB for being a partner in this arrangement and the employees of SLDB who work tirelessly with the ministry in putting together this project. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sidoni, for your insights as well as your comments on your collaborative efforts. It is a pleasure working with the SLDB. Now, today is not only about us listening to speeches, but I'd like to grace your ears with a beautiful rendition by Mr. Aurelia, our panelist. So indulge yourselves in a little entertainment provided by Mr. Giovanni Aurelia.
Wasn't that an excellent performance, ladies and gentlemen? Let's give Mr. O'Reilly a round of applause for this incredible display of talent. After such an artistic musical interlude, I now call on Mr. Mitchell Francois, manager of Mitchell's Moss Mixes, to offer an endorsement remarks. Mr. Francois.
Good morning to all. Allow me to adopt the protocol established. And please give me a few seconds so the nerves can leave. All right. Let me start off by saying thank you for this opportunity to address such an esteemed group of great men and women. Allow me to take you on a journey of the events which led up to me standing here before you today. My name is Mitchell Francois, originally from Castries, but I moved to the Dennery Valley in 2016. I am the founder of the microbusiness Mitchell Moss Mixes, where we specialize in producing a wide range of sea moss products, from the drinks that you know to our very own sea moss infused herbal tea bags and the like. Mitchell's Moss Mixes was conceptualized in June of 2018 as a result of me seeking an alternative source of income coming from a very trying time financially, mentally, and emotionally. I was basically starting from scratch with very little resources, just the desire to get back on my feet, knowing that failure was not an option. I was determined to change my circumstances for the better. I think it is George Bernard Shaw who stated that people are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. He continued by adding that people who get on in this world are they who get up and go out looking for the circumstances they want, and if they cannot find them, they create them. So I set out to look for the circumstances that I wanted. I couldn't find them, so of course, I had to create them. Thank you. So one day I walked into a mini-mart in the south, I'll not mention where, and I saw a bottle of sea moss on the shelf. I said to myself, hey, you know I can do that. Already having the experience with this in the sea moss, the business idea was born and the journey started. Initially, I started off just selling a few bottles at my local church, Joyful Assembly in the Valley, every Sunday after service. At first, it was just to make some extra, much-needed income. So I didn't take it that seriously. But something unexpected happened. People actually liked the product. Yes, they did. And told me that it was the best sea moss drink that they've had tasted so far. Soon after, members of the church started asking for it every Sunday, and the demand grew. And then it occurred to me, this may just become a good little business. So I then went to Sedu at the Ministry of Commerce to get the business registered. I was assigned an officer who assisted me in getting everything in order to ensure that the operations of the business was according to the laws. At the Ministry of Commerce, I was also provided with useful information, training, and support in various areas such as business management, business planning, customer service, food handling, and so on, where at the end of the courses, we'll be certified. I am so grateful for them, to be very honest. As a result of these courses, I was better equipped to manage my little business. I was then directed to the National Bureau of Standards, where the products and the labels had to be examined to ensure that the products, the information was up to standard and the customers could be adequately guided. Then I was able to approach small shops in the community, with the product. From there, I approached supermarkets in the city of Castries. As business began to grow, I was faced with my first challenge. Operating alone, like they say, chief cook and bottle washer, I now am now on my own. I had no means of transport, and that made it difficult for me to supply the supermarkets outside of the valley. And the public transportation was not very reliable. Sometimes you would have to wait half an hour to an hour plus just to see the next bus. So it wasn't practical. Nevertheless, I made it my duty to supply these supermarkets as best as I could with the resources that I had. But it was clear to me that I needed a private vehicle if I wanted the business to continue to grow. Herein lied a greater challenge. It was there I experienced firsthand that most lending institutions are risk averse. And as such, getting financial assistance as a self-employed person or startup business is a real challenge. Especially if you have no collateral or records, While a business plan is an advantage, unless you have a healthy savings or steady income coupled with financial statements as proof to show this, financial institutions will not take you seriously. So, this undertaking by the government of St. Lucia and funded by the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, is, dare I say, a breath of fresh air. For us, thank you, a breath of fresh air for us who have not given up on our dreams. Luckily, at the time, I was able to get assistance from the Mabea Valley Credit Union, who listened and understood the situation and were willing to assist. I was granted the loan, and I was able to purchase an inexpensive vehicle to get me from point A to point B to supply the shops, and I was able to go as far as Choiseul. Can you believe that? Yes. So that was an accomplishment. But unfortunately, that success was a bit short-lived. In came the greatest challenge, one that none of us here could have prepared for. And I'm speaking of, what do you think? COVID-19. That's correct. Just when I was getting my feet back under me, or so I thought, here comes COVID-19. It caused everything to collapse once again. It seemed like I had no... It seemed like there was nothing good that I could have done. And I had no good leg to stand on. Everything was in shambles. The country was shut down, so business was at a halt. I couldn't get raw materials, much less deliver any product. This took me back to square one. With no source of income, eventually I had to put the business on pause and worked as a driver for a local bakery in the community, Prince Richie's. This helped me weather the storm. I had no choice. I had a family to take care of, so I had to do it. Thank you. When it seemed like things were getting back to normal, they had some other issues, supply chain issues, which continue to emerge with global trade concerns around the war in Ukraine and so on. And at this point, we now, meaning myself and my fiancée, Tessa, thank you for all that you've done. And I had to find other alternatives to generate sources of income while we worked around the challenges. Again, this brought us an even bigger obstacle. The fact that we didn't have the cash required to grow the business. And I am most certain, that I was not alone. So many MSMEs may wish to renovate the manufacturing space, to bring it to a level to mass produce, which is what we wanted to do. To be able to buy the machinery needed, to hire persons to assist in producing and marketing or processing the products, to purchase raw material in bulk. We couldn't do it. We just didn't have the finances. There is a saying that if you give a man a fish, he will eat for a day. How many of us know that saying? But if you teach a man to fish, he will eat for life. Well, I see this differently. In my mind, this saying is flawed. And I'll tell you why. Even if you teach a man to fish and he does not have the money to get the tools or equipment needed to fish, to ply that trade, he is just as helpless. His newfound knowledge is useless to him until he finds the money and equipment that he needs to make the use of the newfound knowledge. Yes, he knows. He knows how to fish. But does he have the money for the tools? And this brings me back to my situation. Brings me right back here now. Many like me who have the ideas, many like me who are creators, we just see the world differently. We want to make a change. We want to make a difference. We want to impact our community. Many of us who know how to do it, who know exactly how to bring the ideas to fruition, but lack the financial resources to bring it to life. I got excited when I heard about the MSME loan grant facility. I said to myself, yes, finally, this is an opportunity for people like myself who are born creators. It gives us a second chance at bringing our creativity into this world. It gives us a chance to impact our communities in a positive way. It gives us a second chance where we can go where there is no path and leave a trail for others to follow. This loan grant facility gives entrepreneurs like me hope for the future, for a brighter future, I dare say. Therefore, it is with a heartfelt appreciation, I say thank you to the government of St. Lucia, the Ministry of Commerce and SEDU, the Caribbean Development and banking partners, the St. Lucia Development Bank for supporting this loan grant initiative, and all partner agencies who have made this initiative come to life. Thank you.
Merci, Mr. Francois. This was such an inspiring story, which I think has touched many hearts and lives this morning. We want to applaud you for your dedication and commitment. A round of applause to Mr. Francois. I now invite Ms. Shondell Alexander, manager of Abby's Exotic Blends, to offer endorsement remarks. Ms. Alexander.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to adopt the protocols already established. I am Shondell Alexander. I'm extremely elated to be here today to present my entrepreneurial experience at this momentous occasion. The MSME Loan Grant Facility has been a long-awaited event, which I'm very excited about. And oftentimes we doubted as to whether it would be actually rolled out. Today, I can confidently state that this facility is finally here. We have all been aware of the devastating impact of the COVID-19 pandemic because it affected us all be it directly or indirectly. Many small businesses were temporarily shut down while others failed never to recover. For many persons, myself included, there was never a period in our lifetime where we were so financially stricken. Whatever the reason behind this monster called the pandemic, it is not as nearly the reason behind this devastating impact. But one thing is certain, it left a mark which will never be forgotten. Hope is finally here. The erection of the loan grant facility, I speak not only for myself, but for all small registered business owners. I repeat, hope is here. I'm going to take a little time to tell you my story, how I started this business. Maternal instincts is what have me standing here today. I'm a mother of 3. I'm a single mother of 3. A few years ago, I became a single parent. And if you guys think or thought that COVID was devastating, being a single mother is devastating. So I decided to sit down and write all the things I think I could do best. And everything I wrote down was in the household, mostly in the kitchen. So I wrote everything I made best. I gave them out as samples. I started doing small parties. And sooner than later, it became a business on its own. St. Lucians gravitated towards all of the products that I was making. And here I am today. I started with $2, but $2 planting. I get emotional when I talk about this. $2 green planting. And I went home, I bought some ice lolly bags. I fried my plantains, tied it up in the bags, and I hung it on my door. School dismissed at 3 o'clock, and by 4 o'clock, they were all gone. The following day, I bought $5 plantain, and it went on like that. Thank you. And today, I currently fry 1,000 pounds of plantain every week. I am going to skip the Ministry of Commerce and all the things that I did to get where I am today. But the Ministry of Commerce really came on board and assisted me in getting to where I am today. I am currently a member of the St. Lucia Manufacturers Association, which carries me very well, motivates me and teaches me how to get to the next level. I am currently the small business winner. We have won 7 awards since our registration. We have done many trade shows with the Taiwan and St. Lucia government. I have done trade shows in London, Barbados, St. Lucia, and so many other things that the time here today is not enough to talk about. Abbeys have done a whole lot. Thank you to Export St. Lucia, the Ministry of Commerce, the Manufacturers Association, which helped me along the way. I also need to emphasize or let people, young women know, young people, men and women, that I came out of school in Form 1, and I didn't let that keep me back. I came out and I did what I had to do. Even when COVID hit, I stood up to COVID and I said to myself, we're not going down with you. What I did, I hired a guy on a motorcycle who went to every single community to sell chips, because I employed single mothers and I did not send them home at COVID. So I stand before you today. For those financial institutions who are here, who know me, would know that I don't give up. I write to every single person when I don't get my way. I am the spoiled child. I write to the Prime Minister, I write to the Manufacturers Association, I write to Exports in Lucia, I write to everybody. Somebody has to answer. Our challenges. Let us talk a little bit about our challenges. We are in the month of March, where we celebrated International Women's Month. We have a lot of women in high places. And sometimes you go to a woman for assistance and you get turned down. But I don't give up. I continue to strive. I continue to push. I continue to fight against every challenge that would come my way. We face a battle with packaging here in St. Lucia. We face very high utility bills. With what I do, I use gas and oil. So you can imagine my plight. None of my products have been raised. Everything is the same price. I am trying my utmost to keep the product at a price that people can afford it and continue to consume. So I would say all of the empty factory shells that we have, the next time I stand before you, I would be elated to have one of those retrofitted beautifully where I can produce, not just myself. Let us be a hub for not just the honeymoon destination or bad news, but let us be ambassadors. We have a lot of stuff going on here in St. Lucia. We have people who make teas. We have people who make chips. We have so many young women. There's a lot of CMOS businesses evolving. Let us take one of those factory shells, retrofit it to the best of our ability, and work in there so that St. Lucia can supply the Caribbean with products that people and children can consume. My future aspirations. I started the business based on children who were fatherless. These children are now grown and are opening their own businesses. I am very much proud of that. And so let's move away from my kids and let's assist someone else. I am currently sending a child to school. He has just finished the college and is now going to Sayafa Lewis Community College. We are members of the Cancer Society. We support them. I would like to also partially adopt a children's home since the business started because of children. We do everything by hand. I slice my plantain by hand, I whisk my CMOS, boil my CMOS and whisk it to what I want it to be. because financial institutions will not assist me to get a machine or machinery. So we are not mechanized. So imagine me with a hand mandolin slicing 1,000 pounds of plantain. Minister Hippolyte had the opportunity to see me in my kitchen, and she can tell you that it is hard work. But I will never give up. As I conclude my discussion, I am thrilled to be part of this group of individuals determined to improve the economy landscape of St. Lucia. Let us remember that we work in solidarity and not in isolation. Together, we build a strong, more vibrant St. Lucia. COVID is not gone, but I am confident that we are better prepared to deal with it. Recipients of this loan grant facility, use it for what it is intended for, and only then we will realize the true merit of this facility. With this said, I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alexander, for sharing part of your entrepreneurial journey with us. We can see your passion and we applaud you for your dedication and commitment. And I just want us to keep those 3 words that you mentioned to the end with us as we facilitate this loan grant facility, which is never give up. So a round of applause for Ms. Alexander. I now invite Honorable Emma Hippolyte, Minister for Commerce, Manufacturing, Business Development, Cooperatives, and Consumer Affairs, to offer remarks.
Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Philip J. Pierre, Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Hilaire, Senator Alvina Reynolds, President of the Senate, other cabinet and parliamentary colleagues, our ambassador, His Excellency Peter Chen, and his team from the Embassy of China, Taiwan, permanent secretaries, heads of department, cabinet secretary, senators, presidents of the various business associations, Ms. Harding of CDB, Mr. Sidoni of SLDB, the chairman and board members of SLDB, facilitators, trainers, entrepreneurs, staff of the Ministry of Commerce, esteemed ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As I sat and listened to both Abby and Mr. Francois, I said, well, I don't have anything to say. They've said it. They've shared the story and they've told us why we are here. And I want to ask you to show them your appreciation by giving them the courage to stand here today and to share their story. And it's a true story because as the Minister for Commerce, I usually like visiting the manufacturers. So I think it was last month or so, I decided that I was doing a trip to the north, and I ended up in Abby's kitchen to see what she was doing, because most of you, those of you who have tasted Abby's Cheap, it is what it is, Abby's Delight. It can compete with any other. And I decided that I needed to go and see where she was putting this thing together. And she's correct, she was over a stove with a lot of heat. And I could not believe that she had not received the tools to get her to improve. So I'm very pleased that she's part of this program. I'm very pleased that she was able to stand here. And I want to encourage her to keep focus, and you're an example to the others. So thank you, Abby. And thank you, Mr. Francois. So, ladies and gentlemen, today is a great day. Today is a joyous day. Let us give God thanks. Across the globe, micro, small, and medium enterprises have been disproportionately affected by COVID-19. Many small firms in particular have been adversely affected through reduced sales and difficulty accessing inputs. The various industrial sectors that account for a major component of GDP took a massive hit following global travel bans, flight suspensions, shipping delays, lockdown, and social distancing. And as such, these measures took a heavy toll on SMEs, undermining the livelihoods of a large number of private sector entities. Even during normal times, MSMEs, especially those in the informal sector, operated with tight profit margins and has limited cash reserves to weather these economic shocks. Hence, the impact of COVID-19 threatened to overwhelm MSMEs' coping capacity, and you've heard it here this morning, through interrupted supply chains, reduced demands, delayed repayments, and fast accumulated cash flow pressures. It is noteworthy that compared to large and formal enterprises, MSMEs are less able to tap into emergency credits and other financial reinforcement programs, although they are arguably the ones that need such support the most. It is on this basis that I find myself extremely happy as we embark on this historic event today. So again, permit me to express my jubilation as we celebrate the launch of the Micro, Small, Medium Enterprise Loan Grant Facility. It has often been said that there is no hope for the weak and only the strongest survive. Now, while this may be true on the savannas and grasslands of regions such as Africa, I proclaim the antithesis for our business community in St. Lucia. I must concur that this community has been financially stricken, especially after COVID. In fact, locally, the livelihood of our entrepreneurs was severely affected through the temporary and even permanent closure of the businesses. Consequently, the government of St. Lucia, through the Ministry of Commerce, in collaboration with the Caribbean Development Bank and the SLDB, is providing much-needed support through this particular program. Let me pause here to recognize and applaud the role of our Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, in making this MSME loan grant facility a reality. In a very special way, I want to remind persons that the SLP 2021 election manifesto on page 14, a promise was made, and I'm going to read that promise. We will establish business support throughout the island for small cottage businesses like hairdressers, beauticians, barbers, tailors, seamstresses, and the likes, to allow them to have the necessary infrastructural support, like washroom facilities, supply tools and machinery for the trade. These cottage businesses will also receive support via Small Business Act established previously by the St. Lucia Labour Party. End of quote. Ladies and gentlemen, this promise is being realized today. Apart from making this commitment to assist small businesses with funding support, a first for St. Lucia. Our Prime Minister actively intervened with CDB to cause this facility to become a reality. Let us. This MSME loan facility, which is $10 million, is the result of extensive consultation and is earmarked to bestow some degree of financial relief to approximately 500 entrepreneurs with a viable business idea or a business that already exists. Funding is apportioned in the ratio of 70% grant, 70% grant, ladies and gentlemen, and 30% loan. This facility will be implemented over a 2-year period, and it is designed that selected applicants receive capacity training and technical assistance from my ministry. And this includes standards implementation, business continuity, e-commerce and digital literacy, export development, financial management, and lean canvas business plan development. I'm elated to declare that my ministry deemed it insufficient to simply be a catalyst in enabling entrepreneurs to acquire funding. It looked at the long-term sustainability of these businesses and saw the need to imbue upon them the necessary skill sets so vital for their daily business operation. And I learned from a 2023 article from Faster Capital, which states, and I quote, "Without a solid financial plan in place, an entrepreneur's chances of success are greatly reduced. Financial planning should be a priority for all who want to succeed in business," end of quote. So as we celebrate the launch of the MSME Loan Grant Facility, may I impress upon the business community that there are certain eligibility requirements. You must be a St. Lucian national between the age of 31 to 60. You must have a registered business name or an incorporated enterprise. While most sectors will be considered for this initiative, the priority sectors are manufacturing, including agro-processing, agriculture, agro-tourism, services, which is the ICT, beauty and wellness, professional services, and the creative industries. My ministry has been very industrious in its quest to revitalize the state of our local economy. There has been a plethora of activities which led credence to this aforementioned statement. In collaboration with the OAS, there will be the launch of the Digital Enhancement Project on Friday, March 24th, to build capacity in e-commerce among private sector users. Further, the OAS Women Economic Empowerment WE initiative is set to assist women in the region to embrace the digital economy. This initiative is a 36-month-long project funded by the United States to encourage women entrepreneurs to be more cognizant of the possibilities and benefits of a digital economy. In August last year, the Small Business Development Center introduced the Young Entrepreneurs in Action program in an effort to furnish selected 4th and 5th form students with entrepreneurial experience. In that pilot project, 40 students from secondary schools island-wide were attached to various clients of the SBDC, where there was a mutual exchange of knowledge and experience. The results were phenomenal. These businesses benefited from additional human capital, while the students received hands-on training, and some of these students received offers of employment where they interned. A second cohort is expected to participate in this internship program in the coming year. The ministry, through its Love St. Lucia campaign, seeks to build sustainability in the St. Lucia economy by maximizing the potential of local industry. strengthening consumer awareness, and increasing domestic market share of our local manufacturers and service providers. In pursuant of these objectives, my ministry, in partnership with the Republic of China, Taiwan, Export St. Lucia, the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, and sister agencies, such as the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Education, hosted respectively the annual St. Lucia Taiwan Partnership Trade Show in November last year, La Place Noël in December, and the Independence Business Expo in February. Our MSMEs received much needed exposure and increased sales at this event. The financial support is coming at an opportune time to facilitate growth and expansion. I want you to join me in showing our appreciation to Ambassador Peter Chen for his sterling support and cooperation. As I conclude, I take this opportunity to give special thanks to our distinguished officials, since your presence is evidence of your allegiance to nation building and financial growth of our MSMEs. Special thanks goes out to our lead stakeholders, our Prime Minister, and the staff of the Ministry of Economic Affairs, the Caribbean Development Bank, the St. Lucia Development Bank, for enabling this facility to come to fruition. This endeavor was by no means a minuscule undertaking, but a massive effort encompassing the collaborative efforts of these key partners, along with our other partners such as the OAS and the Eastern Caribbean Partial Credit Guarantee Corporation. I want to say a very special thank you to the staff of the Ministry of Commerce for embracing this program. I know at the beginning you all had a lot of jitters. We couldn't do it. It was the first time that we are having an opportunity to manage money and make decisions. And I want to single out Lady Barbara Charles Innocent. For keeping at it, remaining focused, and the entire team. And what I want to say as well for my staff here was the fact that we had to bring the entire ministry together. It was not just the Small Business Development Center. We had to say all hands on deck to make it happen. And I want to say a very big thank you to you and to our Permanent Secretary for leading the charge. Permit me to render acknowledgement to our guest entrepreneurs and endorsers of this intervention, Miss Alexander and Mr. Francois, for being bastions of development and success in the business community. Their path will certainly inspire entrepreneurs, both established and upcoming. Ladies and gentlemen, let me close by thanking you for being here today. I'm hopeful that this facility will signal the dawning of a brighter tomorrow for entrepreneurship in St. Lucia. Only last night, I was very elated to speak to a large number of women in Beaufort North. And I want to thank the minister and the parliamentary rep for giving us the opportunity to speak. In preparation for this whole MSME, we took the government to the community. I think we have visited about 8 constituencies, and we have to continue. But we are moving, so instead of persons not understanding what you're doing, we partnered with tourism, we partnered with community tourism, we partnered with SLDB and Mr. Sidoni. I want to thank you for responding and looking at the processes and ensuring that we deliver this program in an efficient and timely manner. I want to thank you. I want to take this moment to implore all recipients of this loan grant facility to network with each other to strengthen the economic virility of Fair Helen. With the recent celebration of our 44th independence anniversary, let us cling to the theme, du vin ensemble. to continue building our country, because a nation together is a nation forever. When we invest in the pockets of our entrepreneurs today, we invest in the sustainability of our nation, St. Lucia. So, ladies and gentlemen, your government, through the Ministry of Commerce, will continue to serve and support our business community as we recognize that our economy grows when trade and commerce grows. May God guide us on this journey as we continue to put in you, the people, first. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Hippolyte, for your insightful and powerful remarks. And we applaud you for your continued encouragement to our MSMEs and entrepreneurs. So thank you. I now invite Honorable Philip Joseph Pierre, Prime Minister and Minister with the responsibility for finance, economic development, and the youth economy to offer remarks.
Thank you very much. What my shit? Good diet. Thank you very much, Mr. Ceremonies. Let me recognize the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister for Tourism, the Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire, the President of the Senate, Senator Alvina Reynolds, the Minister of Commerce, Honorable Emma Hippolyte, the Minister of Agriculture, the Minister of Health, Honorable Moses Jabatis, Minister of Home Affairs and Gender Relations, Dr. Poyot, the Leader of the Opposition, the Member of Parliament for Shrewsbury and former Minister of Commerce, the Honorable Bradley Felix. The Parliamentary Secretary in the Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Gibeon Ferdinand, Parliamentary Representative from Miko North, Honorable Jeremiah Norbert, Permanent Secretaries, Cabinet Secretary, Chairman and Managing Director of the St. Lucia Development Bank, members of the staff of the CDB, other Permanent Secretaries, Ambassador of Taiwan and the staff, invited guests, good morning. We've been hearing a lot of bad news about St. Lucia, and sometimes we get carried away and we begin to spread it and get pessimistic and despondent. But as the Rastaman say, good things are happening. Let me tell you the good things that are happening. Last week, we launched the youth economy. Today, we are putting $10 million into small businesses. $10 million. Later this month, earlier this year, we launched the community development, the community tourism program. And it's going to go into full force this year. Yesterday, we borrowed money for health for the OKU hospital. So we're improving the OKU hospital. So it shows a fundamental faith that the government has in the people of St. Lucia. A faith that makes us believe from the bottom of our hearts that St. Lucians are capable, that St. Lucians can do it right, and St. Lucians can compete and can survive in the world. It's a fundamental faith, a belief in St. Lucia. And that is why we believe in the people of St. Lucia. We believe in the Caribbean. And last week, I forgot to tell you, we ascended to the Caribbean Court of Justice. Fundamental faith in the belief that St. Lucia can do it right, that the Caribbean people can survive. We do not need to be only to be under the yoke of colonialism, because it has no conscience. So this morning, we are investing in people. $10 million investment in people. And out of that, we are saying to them that 70% is a grant and 30% will be a loan. And we showed the confidence in you by giving you the 70% grant, so you have to pay back the 40% loan. And many businesses started small. There are examples of these. I want to give you an example. I heard the lady from Abbey speak about her business. I want to give the example of Baron Foods. Baron Foods actually started like her, with a blender, yeah. That's how Baron Foods started. In fact, before I went into this business, I did some work for small businesses, both for myself and for the CDB. And I always joke with the president. I told him they paid me promptly. So, and I remember working in other parts of the Caribbean and seeing small businesses survive and small businesses fight for survival. So when we were deciding to put the manifesto together, I said to my colleagues that we have to do something for small businesses. And it's clear in our manifesto, we said, and I quote, to address the challenge, we articulated a clear policy position in our 2021-2026 manifesto to implement a series of measures to revitalize the business sector, which included, and I quote, to provide partial government guarantees to financial institutions for financing the working capital requirements of affected businesses during the recovery process. That was a manifesto quote. And that is a manifesto quote that's happening live and direct this morning. 70% is the grant and 30% is a loan. And I urge you, there are other facilities available. The partial guarantee scheme from the ECCB, which is available. But you have to ensure that you do what you have to do to make these loans and these guarantees accessible. And what do you have to do? You have to keep your records. What do you have to do? You can't you can't believe that sales is profit. Sales was never profit. There's a discipline that must go with small business. There must be the drive, but there must be the discipline. And I urge you, do not take the 70% to buy. See what you're telling me? You're put me in trouble. Do not take the 70% to buy what is not necessary for the business. Take the 70% to invest in the business. We have to reinvest. We cannot spend the profit or what we think is a profit. We have to make, because you never succeed in a business until you succeed. And that may sound very paradoxical. How do you know when you succeed? You know when you succeed when you don't owe anybody. You know when you succeed when you can reinvest. You know when you succeed when your cash flow is at a level where you can buy what you want for your business, and with the extra you can buy what you want for yourself. But the sacrifice is necessary and the discipline is necessary. I'm happy that the MSME fund or facility came after discussion. And I want to thank them for coming to my constituency, because sometimes people forget my constituency. You know, they just, take my constituency and put it aside. Eh? So, and I want to speak about, when I say about my constituency, sometimes politicians call bankers and ask them for certain things. And they say, oh, these politicians troubling you, and things so. What I want to tell the bankers and the technocrats, that politicians are in touch with people all the time. Politicians understand the needs of the people. So it's not always votes, because you can never know who voted for you, never. You can never know who voted for you. And I'll give you an example, which I tell my colleagues all the time. One day I was doing a house-to-house campaign. So I was in a house, and a woman told me how she loved me so much. And she'll vote for me, and the grandmother and godfather will vote for me. And they love me, and we're sure. So when I was going outside the door, a little child said, Mr. Pierre, my mommy is voting for you, huh? And you see, when you're in that business as long as me, you know you can never know who will vote for you. You can believe they'll vote for you, but you can never know. So when politicians make requests to people to help businesses, sometimes it's not only because you want the vote, sometimes because you think that you see there is potential, you see there is need. So I want to tell you that understand that we politicians not only look at things from what you'll call politics. It's a human need. It's an understanding of what people want. It's an understanding that the lady who is frying plantain, right? We would have gone there and you would have known that she needs something a little more. And that is why we envisaged and we spoke to the CDB. And I want to thank them, because sometimes I know we get impatient with the CDB. But I want to assure you that the professionals at the CDB, they understand, and I must say that I want to thank them for coming to board. This is a process. It's a process of creating wealth for people. And we make no apologies in speaking about people. Absolutely no apologies. We need to have the people of St. Lucia creating wealth for themselves and for their families. We have to have wealth creators. We can't have only people working for people. The service industry is fine. I'm 100% supporter of the service industries. But we need to have people to create things so that the people in the service industry can enjoy. We need to have innovators. We need entrepreneurs. We need small businesses to develop. We have examples of small businesses that have developed. There is JQ Charles. There is A. Valmont. These people are small businesses that developed and grew to become global type entrepreneurs. There are people in St. Lucia who can make it. There are people like Abby and the Seymour's people. We can make it. We can make it. We need a little more faith. We need to have a little less self-hate. We need to hate ourselves a little less. We need to, as a people, we need to see that even though I knew her in a little shop in Deriso, even though I knew her, now she can be a factory owner, she can be a big business, and she can compete anywhere in the world. So let's forget that we knew her in Deriso. Or wherever we knew her. We need to change the mentality. We need to stop seeing the glass as being half empty. The glass is half full. We need more confidence. We need more self-confidence in ourselves. And that's our problem. Because we lack self-confidence, we see ourselves always, boy, that I go work, who may think he is. I know we may think this guy some monsieur. That is a solution that we have to, you know, I could come here, I have a whole speech. I can read and tell you all what, I could tell you many things. I could read my speech and tell you about COVID-19 as it affected everybody, you understand that? I could tell you, but I think sometimes when you speak to people like you who have the ambition, the drive, and the discipline, and sometimes you must talk from the heart. So allow me to talk from the heart, and I'm not on a platform. As I said before, many things are happening as far as the economy is concerned, as far as small business is concerned. We passed in the Parliament a bill yesterday called the Credit Reporting Bill, which was again to develop the discipline among people so that they can understand that they have to pay their bills, so that in the final analysis, the criteria when they want loans or when they want to expand, there'll be some scientific way, some evidence-based way in which they could get these loans. Because before, it was who you know and not what you know. It was who you know. So the credit reporting bill, it has some areas that we need to change, but in essence, what it does is it establishes a history of someone so that when the time comes and you want to borrow money, you can go in and say, listen to me, this is my credit score. This is how I've functioned as far as the money you gave me, as far as my bills were concerned. It shows it causes you to instill a level of discipline in your life and discipline in your business. In October, we passed the Security Interests in Movable Property Bill, which allows businesses to use assets like vehicles and equipment, accounts receivable, crops and livestock, and intellectual property rights to secure loans to help owners expand their businesses. This means that you can use your accounts receivable, you can use things apart from hard assets like land. You could use these things to borrow. It's called the Movable Property Bill. Again, to help people expand, to help people grow. I want to pay special tribute to the Minister of Commerce. And I know the Minister of Commerce wasn't happy when I made a Minister of Commerce. You know, the Minister of Commerce wasn't happy. The Minister of Commerce thought that she was a certified, not she thought, she is. She is a chartered accountant, she's a certified fraud examiner, she is a figures person, and she has a passion for health and national insurance. So she thought that she should not, and she'd been there before, so she thought that she should not have been in the Ministry of Commerce. But I knew that the Ministry of Commerce needed a tick. And I knew that when I'd given her that assignment, I knew she'd quarrel with me in front of my face. That's the first thing. Too many people say she'll quarrel with you behind your back. She'd quarrel with me in front of my face, and I knew when she had agreed to do the assignment, she'd have done the assignment and do it well. And I want to thank her very much. And also her staff, her PS. I won't tell you a secret. But her PS also had concerns. But I said to her, stick in there, do what you have to do, and make us proud. And both the PS and the minister and the staff are making us very proud. And the minister spoke about Barbara. When I was the Minister of Commerce at some time, I know Barbara at Sedu. Again, sometimes she must have thought that I troubled her, because I always send people to her, go, and they probably say, well, these politicians. But Barbara, it wasn't politics. It was a love for people. It was a desire to see regular solutions create wealth and control the commanding heights of the economy. And that is why I did it. And look at the results. So thanks, Barbara. So today is really a new beginning. I want to thank Bradley for being here, because Bradley is showing his commitment to a philosophy that I know he believes in. A philosophy of people. I know he believes in it, but circumstances. So I want to thank Bradley for being here. I want to tell Bradley that the the government welcomes all these ideas. The government welcomes people who have the same purpose. And by being here today, we're very happy that you can take it, because I know you have a passion for small business also, because you were involved in the passing of the incentives for small businesses, which you remember we supported in the parliament. So thank you for being here. So as I said before, it's a new beginning. It's really a new beginning. It's really a revolutionary position that we've taken to invest directly, to put the taxpayers directly involved in $10 million, which we have to pay back, hopefully, 70% of it from the government and the rest in grant. So I want to thank the CDB. Well, I met the governor in 2021 and we discussed this program, and the CDB came on board. I also want to pay mention to the St. Lucia Development Bank. And it shows you a different in philosophy, a different in thinking. When we were in opposition, we thought that St. Lucia Development Bank was not necessary. But the government of the day said yes, they needed it. And in opposition, we said, if that's your policy, go ahead with it. We're going to support you, but you must capitalize it. And that was our position in opposition. We go into government and we are capitalizing the bank. We believe in the bank, we capitalize in it. And again, I want to say to the chairman and the staff and the managing director of the bank, you need to be flexible, you need to be agile, but you also need to be accountable. The government will give its full support to the SLDB, and in speaking to the minister, I said to her, I'm not speaking in any MSME function if the money is not available. Because I'm tired of people coming to these things and you make promises and it never happens. You come and you make them big speeches, all them big long speeches, and it never happens till next year and the year after. So I said to the minister, I'm not speaking unless the money is available. And to be sure, I called the chairman. And I said to him, Chairman, only what I have is my word. I'm not speaking in any function if the money is not available. And I called the bank. I called the CDB. And I said, will that money be available for people to be able to access it? And they said to me, yes. So, small businesses, if you don't get the money, it's my fault. So, you must go to the Commerce Ministry and the bank for your money. Because we did all what you have to do. So, thank you very much. I think there is a lot for us to be proud and happy about. And let us create wealth for our people. Let us create wealth for our future, for our children. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, for your insightful and warm-hearted remarks. And we really appreciated your presence here with us today. So thank you very much. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. We're not quite done yet. There's more. Please look at the screens directly ahead on either side of my side to view a video presentation on the MSME loan grant facility. I do hope that this video presentation enlightens your understanding of what is to be expected from this facility. www.commerce.gov.lc for more information or visit at the Ministry of Commerce. Last but not least, I now invite Mrs. Barbara Innocent Charles, Director of the Small Business Development Center, also known as the Small Enterprise Development Unit, and also the Project Manager of the MSME Loan Grant Facility, to offer remarks. Mrs. Charles?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please permit me to adopt the protocol already established. Ladies and gentlemen, my heart is inditing a good matter. My tongue is a pen of a ready writer. Behold, the government of St. Lucia. Sorry, I've been in the cold for a while. Thank you. Should I start over? Behold, the government of St. Lucia has begun a new thing. Shall it not spring forth? As our official launch ceremony comes to a close, I am indeed honored and privileged for this opportunity to deliver the vote of thanks. Feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like having a gift but not presenting it. William Arthur Ward. Now, with only 5 minutes, I have the mammoth task of acknowledging everyone who has been involved in the MSME Loan Grant Facility becoming what it is today. So if I go beyond, don't ring the bell. Therefore, I'm throwing out the caveat that I will not be able to mention all of you by name, but do know that your contribution did not go unnoticed. Every nod of approval, every criticism, a word of advice, of caution, has made this colossal project a reality. With this said, I would like Honorable Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre and Minister Hippolyte, Minister with responsibility for commerce, to please stand. Please stand. Both of you. And please give them a round of applause. I not only thank Almighty God for this outstanding achievement, I thank God for you. Your endorsement and unwavering support on this initiative, coupled with my minister's passion and zeal, set the pace and momentum to ensure that this project materializes successfully. We pray, Honorable Prime Minister and Minister Hippolyte, that this initiative can become a beacon for others to emulate, and one which will be sustainable or sustained. Money is a defense, as I heard earlier, or as it was alluded to earlier. To Ambassador Chen, we extend our gratitude to you for joining us in this engagement today. The Republic of China, Taiwan, remains a key collaborator for meaningful progress towards the objective of MSME advancement, and we sincerely appreciate your efforts and that of the Taiwan ICDF, led by Mr. Daniel Lee, here in St. Lucia. We're especially pleased with the turnout by the wider cross-section of government officials, including the Cabinet of Ministers and members of Parliament, the Honorable Attorney General, and our other dignitaries and member of the opposition, Mr. Honorable Bradley Felix. We're happy to have you here as my former minister as well, who have graced us with their presence this morning. This signals the height and depth and breadth of the commitment by the government of St. Lucia to enhance our economic landscape. We know that some of you postponed other engagements to be here, and we are truly thankful. You deserve a resounding round of applause. And thanks to all our esteemed guests who made the event a memorable one. On behalf of the Prime Minister, Minister for Commerce, the staff of the Ministry of Commerce, and in particular the Small Enterprise Development Unit, also known as the Small Business Development Center, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, and its representative, Ms. Lisa Harding, acting head of the Private Sector Division. Without CDB's endorsement and sterling leadership in financing this initiative, we would not have been here today. Special mention, thank you. Special mention is to be made of the St. Lucia Development Bank under the stewardship of Managing Director, Mr. Cornelius Sidoni. Your predecessor was on board with this from the onset, and I'm grateful that you did not hesitate to continue with us. I must also mention your deputy, Mrs. Dawn Lafay Simon, and my namesake, Mrs. Charles, who were my go-to persons, and who were never too busy, though very busy, to respond to my call or queries. From fierce negotiations with the SLDB team to now wallow in mutual friendship and deep respect, sends volume to the rest of St. Lucia that we can put all aside for the sake of one worthy cause. To our German partners of DISIC, whose training tools and contributions in kind and cash have been supporting the work of the Small Business Development Center for capacity building among staff and our MSMEs in financial literacy over the past 6 years. I thank you for your investment in us, which will pay dividends in this project. Through you, we have impacted over 600 MSMEs this year, and we also have developed that network of the financial institutions, which is invaluable. To the Organization of American States, OAS, for the continued collaboration and partnership impacting at the policy level with the development of the SBDC model, the transfer of that knowledge of the SBDC model and the MSME policy for St. Lucia, which set the foundation to pursue this loan grant facility that we have launched here today, creating also practical outlay among our MSMEs in St. Lucia. Special mention of Ms. Renu Penko. She's not here today, but she's joining us live, I am sure, the SBDC program coordinator, for her continued support in strengthening the local and regional SBDC network. This has made collaborating on this project a breeze. Clearly, the ecosystem for business development and sustainable growth is very well established. We ask that you, Ms. Penko, I know you're listening, I know you're viewing us online, to convey our warmest regards and gratitude to the executive. The Eastern Caribbean Partial Credit Guarantee Corporation, ECPCGC, deserves recognition for volunteering to engage in capacity building of our business plan assessment team and the evaluation committee. Mrs. Carmen Gomez-Treg, CEO, you are a godsend. Thank you. Constituency office representatives, thank you for your support in making the community outreach a reality. The assistance you will be providing in ensuring that eligible constituents apply for the loan grant funds is invaluable, I could tell you that. And to the various ministries and departments, particularly the Ministry of Finance, Office of the Prime Minister, Department of Economic Development, the Procurement Unit, Accountant General's Department, Ministry of Tourism, the National Television Network, NTN, the Ministry of External Affairs, Protocol Office. Your continued partnership and support in this journey guidance and insight, and commitment to ensuring the project was well received and that all necessary support was given. For this, I thank you. I have to single out someone after my own heart. This individual understands all too well that the greatest among you must be the servant of all, or must be willing to be the servant of all. And that person is Ms. Pearl Alcindor, the acting chief economist and former SBDC team member, for sacrificing sometimes her own vacation time to address our queries and serving as a conduit between CDB and ourselves. To our guest entrepreneurs, Mr. Michel Francois. Mr. Michel, you know, Prince Richie was one of my first clients when I started off as a business development officer. And he'll tell you our story. And Ms. Shondell Alexander, you have honored us with your time, presence, words of wisdom, and insight into our journey to allow us a better understanding of how our efforts offer meaningful and tangible benefit to the MSMEs. The Evaluation Committee, which is led by Ms. Yvonne Agard as the president, and the our in-house RFQ evaluation team, we thank you for lending us your expertise. We are certain your contribution will help make the process as seamless as possible and ensure an objective and transparent assessment process. Consultants in the technical support component, thank you for seizing this opportunity to strengthen our MSMEs. The St. Lucia Fashion Council for this classy decor, thank you. And all our other business support organizations, you have been great. And it would be remiss of me not to mention Export St. Lucia, who has lent their support all the way, especially with respect to creative expressions for this facility. To Mrs. Sophia Alfie Henry, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Commerce. I see you have delivered a wonderful baby, healthy, 8 pounds, bubbling, you know, your commitment and champion of this process to the refined product that it is today. It's commendable. Sorry, I don't look nice when I cry, so it's okay. To the Deputy Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Charmaine Louis Justin, our Human Resource Officer, Mrs. Norma Fountain, and the rest of the administrative team, I say a huge thank you for ensuring the resources to execute this facility were made available. Sincere thanks to our legal counsel, Mr. Dylan Norbert Inglis, and heads of the various departments and staff whose contribution has seen the dawning of such a facility that can provide solace to our MSMEs. To the Acting Director of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Esley Lafay, who I refer to as my technical director, and his senior officer, Mr. Jonathan Ale, I call the assistant technical director, and the rest of the commerce and industry staff, my sincerest appreciation. Now, to the persons who work behind the scenes, getting the job done, the senior ICT manager, Mr. Ricardo George, and the information officer, Ms. Janine Toussaint, who have toiled patiently, joined by Marvin St. Louis, to save the day, save the days. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Special acknowledgement of some who have come out of retirement today to be with us, namely Mrs. Michael Insegis, who helped draft the concept and got us through to the initial approval. Thank you. And those who continue to carry the mantle, we have Mr. Martin Weeks, our former Deputy PS, we have Junior Emmanuel Belizer, and Mr. Peter Lord. You know, you continue to do the heavy lifting to ensure that work behind the scenes is done with excellence. And I would be failing dearly if I did not recognize my SBDC team who have made this day possible. And would you please stand when I call you, your name? Ms. Leander Calix, Project Coordinator. She's already standing. Ms. Ruthann Carrasco, the Assistant Project Coordinator. The project team members, Ms. Heidi Alcindor, our PR lead. Mrs. Roycelyn Howell, our Training and Technical Support Lead and Quality and Standards Specialist. Where are you? Ms. Nyla Sully, the Coordinator for the Community Business Forums, who ensured the message of the facilities coming was noised far and wide. Mrs. Bruce, the SEDU Secretary and right hand. Mr. Lloyd Eugene, who's not here today due to unforeseen circumstance, and Mr. Alvinos Simon, our newest team member, and Miss Peggy Wu, our Taiwanese volunteer. Thank you. You are amazing. Amazing, amazing. And so here's my encouragement to you, taken from Miss Moems. The university got your back. You can have a go at anything if you set your mind to it. You don't have to ask the cosmos. Just decide and then pursue it. Though, if you listen carefully, when you're on the right track, you might hear the universe whisper, "Go get it. I got your back." All right? To our special invited guests and media partners, I would like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out to be with us today and helping us to make this event a grand affair. And as I close, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all who have joined us online to celebrate this milestone, the launch of the MSME Loan Grant Facility with the Ministry of Commerce, Manufacturing, Business Development, Cooperatives, and Consumer Affairs. Finally, I want to thank the private sector for asking the hard questions. I've heard the cries of the MSMEs for as long as I have been in the unit, and that spans 2 decades already. And to see your desire come to fruition gives me goosebumps. Honorable Prime Minister, I could easily echo African gospel singer Judikai's lyrics, which go like this: "If you do nothing else for me, you have done enough." But to speak from the standpoint of the private sector, entrepreneurs in the making and persons already in business who have embraced this noble gesture wholeheartedly, our journey has just begun. This facility is not a cure for all. Some segments of the community, the business community, cannot participate. Therefore, I urge all of us to continue to work together to ensure that all may partake of the proverbial pie. With this, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, I thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Charles, for your kind words, encouraging and passionate. We do appreciate your continued support. So thank you. Heidi, do you think we deserve free chairs?
We do.
Yeah, so let's do
We
it.
do.
Let's do it.
Can we have free chairs, please? Not free chairs, Mr. Lee. Free chairs.
After 2, 1, 2.
Let's go. Hip, hip, hip.
Hooray. Hip,
Hip, hip,
hip.
hip.
Hip, hip.
And no. No, we're doing it again. Energy.
Let's go.
After all this hard work by Minister, Prime Minister, PS, the PS, Cabinet, let me tell you, Minister beat up the Cabinet people to give you all that. Eh?
You know?
So we need these energetic free chairs. Hip, hip, hip.
Hooray!
Hip, hip, hip.
Hooray!
Hip, hip, hip.
Hooray!
Hooray for the MSME loan grant
Facility.
again. Thank you, and hooray for what?
MSME Loan Grant Facility.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Devant,
Assam.
devant,
Assam.
we're moving
Forward.
ever Caught you all there. Forward ever, backward never, devant ensemble. Thank you, everyone, for gracing us with your lovely presence. And I invite Mr. Aurelien to give us a little sweet still pan whilst we indulge in refreshments. So do take care and
Thank you. Merci.
have a good
to
day.
you.
Merci. Stay safe.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you, everyone.